Hey everyone, welcome back to class. Today's lesson, you can see I'm set up in a classroom today, and that is to give you guys the best opportunity to take the notes that you need to take, and it's going to be a much more designed lesson than the one from last time. The one last time was a lot of me rambling and talking to you. Today, it's going to be a lot of note taking and instruction on exactly what it is I need you to know for today. Alright, so before we get started, let me talk about what the heading subject is going to be. You're seeing it on the board behind me. Neolithic Revolution. What in the heck is a Neolithic? Neolithic, new, right? Lithic is going to be stone. New Stone Age is what we're talking about here. But that's not going to be completely accurate. New Stone Age, you would think, okay, somebody took a rock and attached it to a stick and you got yourself a brand new hammer. That's not exactly what this is. In the New Stone Age, you went from the running around and chasing of animals, which we learned last class, we referred to as nomads, or somebody who moves from place to place looking for food. Today, we're going to talk about people who are actually going to settle down. They're going to start growing crops, they're going to start raising animals, doing all that kind of crazy stuff that's eventually going to lead to brand new civilizations. So, as we go through, I'm going to be adding terms on the board here that you're going to need to know for this. So, as I'm talking, you should have a piece of paper out and a writing utensil out. This is day 2. You guys should be coming prepared to class by now, and you should be ready to take some notes. So I'm going to wait about 30 seconds while you get your stuff together, and then I'm going to start. Feel free to pause this thing as well on your computer so you don't have to sit there and just scrambling around trying to get this done. The video today is only about 6 or 7 minutes long, so you should have plenty of time to get this working. Grab a piece of paper, grab a writing utensil. All right, as you stated, with the Neolithic Revolution, we are talking about a brand new kind of way of getting food. We're not running around chasing this stuff anymore. We're not looking for a deer or an antelope. Right now we're going to stay in one spot. We're going to grow crops. We're going to hunt food. We're going to keep that food somewhat close to us. This is also going to lead to some new advancements in human history we're going to talk about. So let's start off first with what this actually is. Neolithic. We broke down it before. I'm going to do it again. New Stone Age. The time period we're talking about is just after the last ice age. So we're talking roughly about 8,000 years ago, somewhere in that vicinity. We're in the year 2014 now. Subtract 2,000, that'll get you to 0. Subtract 5,000 from that, 6,000 from that, and that's going to get you right around that time period, all right? So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. In this new Stone Age, we're going to start developing new cultures. We're going to create civilizations. We're going to have people out there that are going to have jobs to actually do. Rather than just running around just trying to survive, they're going to have more free time. This new Stone Age that you see right here is going to give way to what we're going to call agriculture. Now, growing up in St. Louis, it's very possible you guys don't know what agriculture is. Agriculture is farming. That's all it is. All right, you jump right across the river in Illinois, you're going to see countless farms and pigs and cows and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing. That is agriculture. Agriculture is simply the growing of crops. All right. If you haven't written that down, write that down. It is the growing of crops. That's all you need to know. All right, that is agriculture. But we're not just talking about farming. Anybody can farm. You go walking around, you see some grass in the ground, you go and eat the grass, more grass is going to grow. That's kind of how nature works. What we're talking about is agriculture, but we're talking about systematic agriculture. When you get over to the reading section today, you're going to learn about systematic agriculture. What that is, it is agriculture by design. If you've ever driven by a farm, been to a farm, seen a farm, you know that crops are laid out in rows. We lay them out in that rows because it's easier to water them, it's easier to pick them, it's easier to plant them, it's easier for everything to grow. You also see the rows, they're going to lay it out like this. They go from side to side sometimes as well, and like a grid. That's because you might grow a different crop here than what you grow down here. All right? It's systematic. It's what is going to produce the most amount of food in the least amount of space. Now, as you can probably guess, there's some cultural advances that come with systematic agriculture. Farming itself is not going to get you the big cultural advances that are going to take place, but having more resources, more food, more time is going to be able to create more things. Let me grab my toilet paper eraser here and I'll show you exactly what it is I'm talking about. Remember, if I'm going too fast for you, that's fine. Just reach down in front of you, hit the pause button, take your time, go back through, rewind anything you need to rewind. This is not something you gotta sit there and fly through. Again, this video is only gonna be about probably 6-7 minutes long. You can get all this information in. I wanna talk to you guys about domestication. Domestication. All right, that word right there. We hear domestic, we think about abuse, we think about violence. That's not this. Domestication is simply the keeping of animals. If you have a dog at home, if you have a cat at home, if you have a hamster or a goldfish at home, you've domesticated that animal. That animal does not naturally appear in the wild. That animal is yours. That animal is kept by you. You have domesticated it. That's all this is. People are keeping cows, and they're keeping pigs, and they're keeping anything they can kill and eat at a future date. That is what they have domesticated. Obviously, this is going to help you keep a steady food supply all year long. Stuff moves. Stuff moves around. Herds of buffalo are going to race across the plain. Cool. Catch one. Keep one. Breed it. Keep having more baby buffalo. It's that easy to have a steady food supply all the time. All right, so let's move on. We've seen agriculture, we've seen domestication of animals. Now let's talk about what these things actually give to us. When you have domesticated animals, when you have agriculture that has grown up, the things you're going to have is you're going to have permanent settlements. Permanent settlements arise because you have food. If you have food, people are going to want to come to you. If you're growing a food, you can't just pick up and move your farm somewhere. You've got to live where the farm is at. So you have permanent settlements that are going to start to arise. These are going to look like houses. These are going to look like storage facilities of some kind. Basic formula, you're going to start out with a house. All right, obviously you got a place to live, you got shelter over your head. We talked about it yesterday. Everybody needs to survive. Food, water, shelter. There's your shelter. From your house, now you're going to start to develop storage. As you're growing these crops, as you're growing these vegetables out here, especially wheat, when wheat starts to be grown, that wheat can be dried and stored. You can keep wheat for a very long time. A lot of times they were storing it underneath their houses, but eventually we started building barns and things like that in order to keep it. You build your house, you build your storage. From your storage, because eventually you're going to have an excess amount of stuff, specifically wheat, that eventually is going to lead to trade. You're not going to keep all that wheat to yourself. It's pointless. You can't possibly eat it all, and all the people in your community don't need it all. So what happens is you got wheat, you specialize in wheat, you're able to trade that wheat to somebody else who might be raising pigs. Now, you don't have to raise pigs. You just raise your wheat, let somebody else raise the pigs, and you guys trade off. Right? It's early human civilization. It seems simple to us, but for 8,000 years ago, people, that was pretty revolutionary stuff. From trade, we go into like the bad stuff, right? All right, we go to wealth. Now, once you start trading, somebody's going to have a trade surplus. They're going to have more than somebody else. That is going to lead to wealth. Wealth, as we know, leads to power and leads to problems. From wealth, we're going to create armies. All right, we've seen this. You guys know about Troy. You guys know about Sparta. You guys know about Athens. These are all places we're going to get to. And these places needed strong armies because they had a lot of wealth. We're going to see it in a lot of early civilizations too, specifically Egypt, which we're going to talk about in the next couple of days. From these armies, from this wealth, the last thing we're going to find are going to be walled cities. These walled cities are there for the protection of the people. These walled cities exist solely to protect the resources of the people within those walled cities. These are going to start to develop roughly about 6,000 years ago. Athens and Sparta aren't going to have them so much because they have their own geographic things happening for them. But if you've ever seen the movie Troy or you've ever heard of the Iliad or the Odyssey, walled cities are a big, big part of that old epic. All right, really quick, summarize. Systematic agriculture, domestication of animals, permanent settlements, housing leads to storage, leads to trade, trade leads to wealth, leads to armies, leads to walled cities. We're going to find all these things and more next time with Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, and China. Have a good day. See you guys in the next station.